So, good morning. Welcome to Flourishing in the Garden, week 1. So, for this first week, we're going to focus on the root chakra, Muladhara, or also associated with the earth element. So, for this week, we have three postures that we'll work on to focus. And as far as sequencing is concerned, these postures can be practiced as like the pose of the week or the pose of the day, however your program is set up. And one thing I like to do, especially with youth, even adults, this is a great recall game, is just to, after you first teach the posture and share it, you can then have them teach it back. So ask later that day, or even in a later class, hey, what was week's 1 pose of the day? And then you could have the students or participants teach it. So another fun little thing to layer in. But anyway, so week 1, Muladhara, earth, root, stability. These are all qualities that go along with the earth element. So even if you think, of the ground, the soil, the earth, it is stable. It is a foundation to grow upon. So as we're here and we're moving through these postures, just try to kind of embody those qualities. So as you're instructing, think about the movement is going to be slow and intentional and stable. And so those are, the intentions for moving through these postures. So our first posture is child's pose. So a couple of options. First, I want to talk through a little bit of the anatomy here. There's a lot of flexion in the knees, dorsiflexion in the ankles, and flexion in the hips in this posture. So there are plenty of adaptations depending on your group. So first we will come to the mat. Options to instruct to have the toes up to support the feet here. That can help to stretch out the bottoms of the feet and also the toes. But we can also have the tops of the feet flat on the earth here. So again, this can be quite a stretch for some folks. So options, again, to have the toes. If you have props, like even a towel, or you can even roll up a sweatshirt, that can also go right under the top of the foot here to support and kind of give some more of that space. So as far as the legs are concerned, we can have the knees together to create a little bit more flexion in the lumbar spine. So that's one option. Option 2, to kind of work a little bit more into the hips and allow the spine to lengthen out. We can have the knees a little bit wider here towards the edges of the mat. So then we'll start to fold forward. And so again, options here, as we fold forward, this is a lot of flexion in the hips. We're going to be finding that length and stretch in the back as well, lower back, through the shoulders. So as we come into it, you can also, if you have props or anything, people can rest a prop underneath their chest to give support here. So wherever you are, we'll reach out. And then for the head, we can either drop the forehead to the mat or to the towel, whatever we're using. Another option, again, is to have a pillow or a block here to support. So again, we'll bring the arms out. And just allowing a couple breaths in that posture. So as far as the arms are concerned too, we can talk through that. There are a lot of variations that you can take. So you can take side bending here, where you reach the arms to either side, and I was demonstrating in the air, but what it might look like on the ground is this. And then walk it over to the other side. And with those little side stretches, again, thinking about the earth quality, we can really soak in there. So at least 3 to 5 breaths you can take on each side, and really guiding breath into the ribs. So moving forward from our child's pose, we can come into, we'll start in goddess as one option. This can be a little bit more accessible because it is a standing posture. And to come into it, we'll have the feet, a little bit wider than the hips. One option here is to take this on a wall. So of course, as we sink into our goddess, our hips are going to sink back. So you want to give some space between if you're coming to a wall, so that you can sit back to it. But that's one option. Another option is to use a chair. But as you come into it, feet are wider than the hips. The toes start to point out. And then we'll start to sink the hips. So as you sink into it, we want to start to engage those glute medians. So that'll help to, if we think about that, that'll help to press the knees out towards the center toes. So keeping those knees in a nice alignment. And then we have a lot of options here as far as movement or as far as our arms are concerned. So options, if you need a little bit of a warm-up, if you need to kind of release any energy that's in the group, we can incorporate the arms. Inhale to reach up, exhale to sink down. So this is one option. And maybe you can cue an audible exhale. That's really nice here. So inhale up, exhale, let it go. Inhale to reach it up. Exhale to let it go. And so again, as we're moving here, another thing to consider is the pelvis. So as we're moving, we want to think about keeping the pelvis in neutral. So what that's going to do is, or what we want to think about there, is to engage the lower abdominals, and then to keep, again, that pelvis right in neutral. So just sometimes it might be a gentle tuck of the tailbone, but whatever is neutral there, sinking into it, keeping that nice engagement as we move here. So our next posture here is going to be a deep squat. So this is a pretty advanced posture. Again, a lot of flexion in the knees and the hips. It requires a lot of flexibility as well in these joints and in the ankles as well. So as we come into it, we can, again, find that kind of deep, maybe not as far as our deep squat. So for this one, we'll have the feet just a little bit wider than the hips. Again, the toes can point out, and we'll start to sink into it. So as you come down, options to have the hands at heart center, options to have the arms wide, but wherever we are, we want to try to open up through the heart. So we're pressing down through the feet, getting that grounding here, but then also finding that opening. So another option here would be to bring a block or some kind of support underneath the hips. But I'll come up closer to show you guys this one. So one of my favorite mudras that really goes along with the earth qualities and grounding and protection, stability, the foundation, which is really a part of this chakra and element here, is a mudra called Svasti mudra. So mudras are different positions that we can put our hands, and sometimes our arms are involved as well. And these are different hand positions that can kind of encompass and enhance different qualities. So for this one, we will take the right arm across the chest, left arm follows. And here, we're taking it, you can take it in your deep squat. This is one of my favorite postures to take it because we're rooted, we're strong, we're ready here in this space. And we have this protection mudra. So you can even think of, as you're sending the hands out, like there's energy, you're ready, you're kind of ready to go here. So again, Svasti mudra, that's another option to kind of layer into your deep squat. So thank you guys so much for being here this morning. So that's week 1. Thank you. Namaste.